What is it that Christ on the cross of Golgotha really conveys to the malefactor on the left? He does not utter it, but in the fact that he does not utter it, lies its essence. He conveys to the malefactor on the left, what thou hast done will continue to work in the spiritual world, and not merely in the physical world. To the malefactor on the right he says, today thou shalt be with me in paradise. This means, I am beside thine act. Through thy karma thou wilt have later on to do for thyself all that the act signifies for thee, but what the act signifies for the universe that, if I may use a trivial expression, is my concern. That is what Christ says. The distinction made here is certainly an important one, and significant not only for the time after the Mystery of Golgotha, but also for the time before the Mystery of Golgotha. Karma is an affair of the successive incarnations of man. The significance of karmic justice must be looked at with our earthly judgment. That which Christ does for humanity must be measured by a judgment that belongs to worlds other than this earth world. And suppose that were not so. Let us think of the end of the earth, of the time when men will have passed through their earthly incarnations. Most certainly it will come to pass that all debts will have to be paid to the last farthing. Human souls will have had to balance their karma in a certain way. But let us imagine that all guilt had continued to exist in the earth world, that all guilt would go on working there. Then, at the end of the earth period, human beings would be there with their karma balanced, but the earth would not be ready to develop into the Jupiter condition. The whole of earth humanity would be there without a dwelling place, without the possibility of developing onwards to Jupiter. The fact that the whole earth develops along with man is a result of the deed of Christ. All the guilt and debt that would otherwise have piled up would cast the earth into darkness, and we should have no planet for our further evolution. In our karma we can take care of ourselves, but not of humanity as a whole, and not of that which in earth evolution is connected with the whole evolution of humanity. So let us realize that karma will not be taken from us, but that our debts and sins will be wiped out from the earth evolution through what has come in with the mystery of Golgotha. Man must fill his soul with the substance of the Christ being. He must, as it were, have taken something of the Christ into his soul, so that Christ is active in him and bears him into a kingdom where man has indeed no power to make his karma ineffective, but where it comes to pass through Christ that our debts and sins are blotted out from our external world. What does it signify for the human soul when one who may so speak says in the name of Christ, "Thy sins are forgiven thee"? It means that he is able to assert, "Thou hast indeed to await thy karmic settlement, but Christ has transformed thy guilt and sin so that later thou mayest not have the terrible sorrow of looking back upon thy guilt, and seeing that through it thou hast destroyed a part of the earth's existence." Christ blots it out. But a certain consciousness is necessary, and those who would forgive sins may rightly demand it. A consciousness of the guilt, and consciousness that Christ has the power to take it upon himself. For the saying, "Thy sins are forgiven thee," denotes a cosmic fact and not a karmic fact. But with the spiritual, the not earthly consequence, it is otherwise. Christ takes upon himself the spiritual consequence. He forgives does not mean that he blots out in the absolute sense, but that he takes upon himself the consequences of the objective act.